So this evening I'm joined by Eurovision Song Contest winner Linda Martin. So Linda, how have you been keeping, I suppose, throughout the COVID to start off with?
Well, to be absolutely honest with you, Holly, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here talking to you tonight. And going on towards the COVID and the isolation, I'm as happy as Larry, to be absolutely honest with you, because our business that I work in, it's mental most of the time, and I'm travelling all
Nice
the time,
break.
you know. So this is a lovely break for me. So my garden has never looked nicer. I've painted every room in the house at this stage. There's just nothing left to do. So I'm actually enjoying it, but with a lot of sympathy for people maybe stuck in an apartment with kids and things like that. You know, that's difficult. But for me, I'm fine.
And then I suppose to go back now kind of to your roots back when you were growing up in Northern Ireland, was it always kind of singing that you wanted to do? Was it always kind of prevalent in the household that you wanted
No,
to
it
do?
wasn't. Now I got to tell you something. My father's family, they're a huge Italian family, and they all played instruments and they all sang on an amateur basis, right? So my big thing in life was always animals, and I wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
And my father, he didn't want to know about me getting into music. You do your study and you do your homework, and that's what was in his mind. He just wanted me to be educated. So anyway, I keep saying if he hadn't been so mean and was more generous with the pocket money, I wouldn't have answered an ad in a newspaper for a girl singer and earned a fiver. Can you believe I earned a fiver for my first wages? But anyway, I got caught up in show business, finished off school, veterinary college went by the wayside, and I thought I was the bee's knees. So I just kept on singing, went professional, and here I am today still doing exactly the same thing.
Still doing what you love.
Absolutely.
So you started off in the band Chips, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
And then kind of how did that escalate then to get into the Eurovision?
Well, it was just fluke really, because we started in Belfast,
Yeah.
and then we were told that if you want to get further in the music career, you got to get to Dublin. And at that same time, Louis Walsh had come from west of Ireland to Dublin. He was in a music office in Dublin called Tommy Hayden Enterprises, and he was looking for a band. So we sort of met in the middle. He liked us, we loved him, and it was one of those things that just moved on and on and on, right? So Donna's a great friend of mine, and I remember watching her the night she won, and I remember thinking, I want to do that. That's definitely for me.
Inspire.
So it was in my mind, it was in Louis's mind, and then Johnny Logan came into our office as well. And of course, as you know, he won the Eurovision, and that just gave me more impetus really to get off my arse and really try and do something. But Johnny was my saviour. He wrote the first one, Terminal 3, and we came second with that. And then he came back in 92 with Why Me. So it was one of those things. It was right place, right time, with the right people in the office.
And everything fell into place.
Yeah, and I'm one of these people. If I get something in my mind, I'm inclined to just go bald-headed for it, right? I'm very single-minded that way, and I love work. And I turn up on time. I try to be as professional as possible. And I think those things, they all lend themselves to people saying, okay, well, I'll keep her in mind and I'll do this. And it all worked for me, really.
And then, of course, I suppose, 92, when you won the Eurovision with Johnny's song, like it must have, kind of from him being there from kind of the grassroots level when you were starting off with the band and everything, it must have been brilliant to kind of win with Johnny. Like, I know for myself, Johnny would be kind of an idol in the music industry for myself. Yeah. So I suppose, like, what was the experience like when you got there as well?
Well, it's not what people think now. It's the most wonderful experience ever. Right. And if you ever get a chance, go. Even if you're only reporting on the contest itself, go and experience what it's like to have, in those days it was 25 countries, just experience what it's like to have 25 countries all together with their entourages, with rehearsals, parties, get-togethers, managers, backing singers, everything. It's the most incredible experience, and I just adored it. But you got to do your work as well, right? So you're doing your propaganda all the time. You're talking to the media, and you want the media to go back and write in their papers, oh, wasn't she lovely in Ireland? It's a great song. All of that sort of stuff. So it's just the most magical experience ever. And if you ever get a chance, just say yes. Whether you can sing or dance or not, just say yes. Just say
I'm going.
Go.
I don't think you need to be able to sing or dance to get into it now.
Not a lot of the time, no. But if you can sing, it helps, because every year, I don't know if you watch it or not, but I do try.
Oh, yeah.
I do try.
I just try, yeah.
And say we now have 45 countries involved in it, and say out of the 45 countries, there's at least 10 amazing singers.
Oh no, there is, definitely. Ireland are usually one of the best. They're usually up
Yeah, we
well, I suppose we've had a few years there where we've been a bit sort of iffy, but
yeah, we if we could get back to singing ballads, forget about trying to do a pop song or anything. Go back to what we're good at, and that's
exactly. That's what we've won with in the past.
Correct,
so.
correct.
And then moving on just a little bit, I suppose you were involved in a few TV shows and whatnot, but what I would remember, I suppose, going to the pantomimes in the Olympia Theatre.
Yeah.
But how did you just kind of fall into doing things like that, or was that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, actually, it's just, again, friends.
Yeah.
And people looking for a particular type of person to play the lead in their pantomime, or play a character in their pantomime. And The Wicked Witch was a good one for me. and then Jedward had just gone to the X Factor.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And Louis was looking after them, and he said, "Linda, would you ever get in, grab hold of these two fellas and knock some sense into them?" So they were only, I think they just turned 17 at that stage, right? So I went in, their daddy brought them into the Olympia Theatre, and we started work, harmonies, singing in time, moving around the place, you know, and I got on very well with them. Actually, they're lovely people, you know, when you get to know them. And then the next year's pantomime, they were very interested in Jedward coming in, and I think you might have been at that one.
Was, yeah.
Yes. So they thought, right, we need somebody on stage with Jedward that can actually control them.
Keep them on a rein.
So, Linda, you're going to be the Wicked Witch this year again, but your main job is actually keeping control of Jedward. And do you know something? I didn't have to, because they are so professional. You give them a pantomime script. Now, if I have a pantomime script, it takes me weeks to learn it, right? Because you're going over and over. Give it to Jedward, they come in the next day and they know it. It's like you give them your phone number, they keep it in there. You know, it's just they have
photographic memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of, yeah. But that's just what happened. And then they came back for 2 years after that, and I was involved in the pantomimes. But an absolute joy to work with, mainly because you just didn't know what they were going to do next. You know, they never came in on time or anything like that. That didn't come into it at all. And then I don't know if you witnessed them jumping from the stage right over the orchestra pit into the aisle. Did you see that?
I think I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that one of the evening shows?
We just didn't know. And then then one night, they went out the back door and took off up O'Connell Street with security and everything behind them, and all the fans that used to come along to see it. Do you know, it really was great fun. But that's
side door. I remember that side door was just swamped.
Mental. People from Sweden, people from all over Europe. It was an incredible situation, and I worried because there were a lot of young girls there. And I'd be out talking to them, and I'd say, you know, where are you from? Well, we came down from Belfast this morning. And where are you staying? Well, we'll find somewhere. And I used to be saying, oh, Christ almighty, I can't believe this, you know, because I would be worried. And I don't know if you remember, there was a restaurant on the corner, like a takeaway place.
Oh, yeah.
And the owner felt sorry for them, so he just said, look, come in and use the toilets and things like that whenever you want. But these young girls were there on the street at night. And, but anyway, sure.
That's another story.
If the mothers weren't worried about them, I shouldn't have been either, but I did actually.
And then, of course, you said earlier on you had a love for dogs. You always have had a love for dogs, and now you've built up the relationship with Dog's Aid. Yeah. So, what's it like? I suppose, kind of, because especially in times like these, and you hear about all the things that have been going on with the kidnapping and whatnot with the dogs. What sort of, you know, it's really important the role that Dog's Aid play, like for dogs and animals.
I think any charity is worthwhile being there. That's my opinion.
It's serving a purpose. For
Absolutely. Something. I just happen to work with the animals because we can't all support the same charity anyway. So I've been with Dog's Aid for, it must be about 20 years or something at this stage. And we're non-profit, by the way. It's totally run by volunteers. And it's heartbreaking when you see what comes in the doors. And we don't ever put a dog down unless it's so ill that there's no hope for it. And it's just the age that we're living in, certainly the dog napping, as they call it, is disgraceful. And the guards don't have the powers. I mean, the guards are trying to deal with the humans, and it's virtually impossible to get them to chase after dogs. They do their best, I have to say, they do their best. But this situation has been propagated by the puppy farmers, you see, because of the money they're earning by selling these puppy farm dogs, which are by and large sick. They're not bred properly at all. It's absolutely disgusting. And once again, we do have the legislation in Ireland, in law, to stop all that, but we don't have the manpower to go out.
It's not reinforced. Yeah.
No, it's not. And again, it's just lack of personnel. That's all it is. But we fight the fight. We get there someday. But the COVID, when everybody went into lockdown, you see, you've got parents at home with their children. And when I was a kid, you got slung in the street and you went out and you played ball or you skipped a rope or something like that. But the parents said, we get a little dog. And what did they do? They went out and they started buying from the puppy farmers, and the puppy farmers clued in double the price. Now, I don't know about you, what you know about dogs, but for somebody who would pay 1,500 quid for what I call a mongrel, now there's something wrong there. There's definitely air getting in, right? So that situation escalated, and then of course the characters who were stealing the dogs copped on as well. Well, we get the same money for them, so that's what started that. Now some of them have been gotten back, but they go
a bit of that on social media. I think
they go to Holyhead, they go to France, and various other places, you know, and it's just tough. It's just tough trying to get them back. But my heart breaks for the people, because I know how I would feel, and you know how you would feel if your dog was taken, because it's the worry of not knowing where are they, what's happening to them,
and especially when you have one of the thoroughbreds as well. Like, I know our dog's a golden retriever, so it's kind of a bit, you know, because they're the more expensive dog, I suppose. You know,
listen, it's just people's hearts are broken.
He's a little terror sometimes, but I'd be heartbroken if he was.
Of course you would. Of course you would. I mean, I could I have a load of them up there, and I could strangle them most days. But then again, and I look at them and I realise what they've been through. You know, before I got my hands on them, and you sort of think, oh well, you know. It
must be though a great feeling though as well, like, you know, rescuing, you know, a dog and looking after it and get back into, you know, sort of into its a proper state, like,
Absolutely.
you know, if it's been mistreated or whatever. Like.
Absolutely. The last little creature that came into me just before lockdown, actually, she came in and she was virtually bald and crusty. She'd had mange and it hadn't been treated, so practically all of her hair was gone, but her skin had started to crust up and and you just look at this and you see every bone and you think to yourself, in the name of Jesus, are people blind? I mean, and the smell of it is horrific as well. So not only see it, did they not smell it? But anyway, it took a lot of work. Now are we 6 months in lockdown? Are we?
About that, yeah. March, wasn't it?
Yeah. So now her skin's still bad. Her coat did grow back, but she's bathed at least once a week, at least, and sometimes more. And if I don't, the smell starts again, and it's that horrible yeasty smell and sweat. Oh, listen, it's awful. But anyway, but I look at her now. She's as fat as food, and she doesn't care. And you just think, she's doing well. She's happy. And I called her Marigold after a dog on the telly. You know?
Well, thank you very much for coming and doing this
evening. Not at all.
I've really enjoyed it.
Delighted to talk to you.
Talking about the dogs and Eurovision. Learn something new every day.
There you go.
Thanks,
it's a pity Johnny Logan's not at home. You could have got him to do
an
interview.
I know, my idol.
He's stuck somewhere in Europe. He couldn't get home.
Oh.
But anyway.
Well, thank you very much.
That's all.
Really
You're welcome.